Forget stocks, buy commodities. What about plain gold? My next guest has long been known as the commodities king on Wall Street, and he's sticking to it. Jim Rogers says gold could cross $2,000 an ounce in the next 5 to 10 years. As you know, gold right now at $1,315. He also believes investors can find a sweet deal in sugar. Let's get right down to it and talk strategy with Rogers Holdings Chairman Jim Rogers. Jim, great to see you.
Delighted to be here, Maria. It's been a while.
Thanks so much for joining us. We always love having you on the program, and your insights obviously are second to none in so many spaces. So before we talk about commodities, let me get your take on where we are in the equities market. The stock market, you warned, could collapse if the global recovery fails to reignite. Where are we right now in that regard?
Well, that's where we are. If the recovery doesn't come along, then stocks are going to go down. If the recovery comes along, the stocks will go up. But, Maria, I'm going to make more money in commodities than in stocks, because if the economy doesn't get better, commodities are going to do well because they're going to print money. And you know Mr. Bernanke and the rest of them are already talking about printing money.
Right, so more printing of money, and that keeps that commodities trade in place. Now, in March, you were with us, and you said you expected another recession by 2012. Are you sticking with that view? How does it feel to you? I mean, you're all around the world really looking at the broad landscape before we really zero in on specifics.
Well, what I said was that every 4 to 6 years in the history of America, we've had a recession or economic slowdown. It comes like fairly regularly. So by 2012, we're overdue again. Whether it comes in 2011 or 2013, I don't know. My only point is it's coming again. And when it comes the next time, what is the government going to do? They cannot quintuple their debt again. Mr. Bernanke cannot print any more money. I mean, there are not enough trees for him to print that much money. So we're going to have a serious problem the next time we have a slowdown. And whenever it is, and it's bound to be here in 2 or 3 years at most.
All of this has created something of a bubble in the bond market. Obviously, you mentioned that the last time we were together, and we just keep seeing yields at record low levels and money moving into the bond market. How do you see the bond market?
Well, there is a bubble forming. I mean, I cannot conceive of lending money to the U.S. government at such low interest rates for 30 years in U.S. dollars, and somebody's doing it. I'm not shorting bonds in any significant way yet. I'm waiting, but I don't know how long I'll wait. Probably the last time I was here, I said I'm waiting.
Yes,
you know, and bonds continue to go up. I'm still waiting.
I want to get to currencies as well, but let's talk about commodities for a moment. I know you're bullish on gold, sugar. Where's the biggest opportunity right now in the commodities group? You've been so right on this group. When so few people were talking about commodities, you were there pushing it, and you were absolutely right.
Remember I told you to become a farmer?
Yeah, yeah, you did.
I told you to learn how to drive a tractor.
Yeah, you should get rid of the Mercedes and get a tractor.
Get yourself a tractor. Well, that's still the case. Farming is still going to be a very good place to be. Agriculture, I guess if I were buying something today, rice would probably be something I would look at. Look at the ones that are still depressed. But some of them have gone up a lot, you know. You see what happened to wheat earlier this year. You see what's starting to happen to sugar. You see what's happening to some of the commodities. So look at the ones that are still cheap. But agriculture has a wonderful future, Maria, for the next 5, 10, 15 years.
What's the broad sort of fundamental reason for this? Is because there's a real shortage of agriculture and food around the world?
Yes, the inventories are low, but the main thing is it's been a horrible business for 30 years. Very few people have invested in agriculture. Many countries don't even have farmers anymore because they're all old men. In Japan, they cannot find farmers because all the old men have died and the kids have gone to Tokyo or Osaka.
Interesting.
So the basic point is there's just no investment in agriculture for 30 years.
Does valuation trouble you in any way? I mean, when you look at, for example, what's happened to gold, what's happened to copper, is it an issue for you if you want to put new money to work at these current levels? Because we've seen such a huge run-up.
Well, again, look at the things that are cheap. Gold is making all-time highs. Silver is still 60% below its all-time high. So if I were looking at a precious metal, I would go look at the places that are still cheap. I own gold, I own silver. Right. Look at the things that are still down. That's probably a better way to start. But gold is going to go a lot higher over the next decade. It may slow down for a while because it's run up so dramatically here in the last few weeks. But gold is going to be much higher. Don't sell your gold.
You're looking at $2,000 in the next 5 years, or even sooner, right?
Well, if you adjust gold for its old high, if you adjust it for inflation, it should be well over $2,000 now. So when I say something like it's going to go to $2,000 in 10 years, that's not a very dramatic statement given the state of the world. So,
I see.
No, I'm sure it's a given.
Now, Jim, today we're looking at Alcoa down sharply. There's a report out that basically says, look, aluminum prices are not keeping up with some of the other commodities. I don't know if you look at aluminum very much, but is that a different story than some of the others or no?
Well, of course, every commodity is different. There's no question about that, just as every stock is different. Even in a bull market with stocks, not all stocks go up the same amount. So the fundamentals are better for some than for others. Tin is making all-time highs. Some things are going through the roof. Aluminum's not, partly because the Chinese built a lot of aluminum factories.
I see.
So you cannot just say commodities and they all go together, but they don't.
I understand what you're saying. Okay, so there's an actual specific situation around aluminum because of the Chinese. What about the currency market? Dollar up today. You were so right on the dollar as well. Even if you look long-term where you said it's going to be weak, or you looked for some trades where you said I would be buying it right here. Where are you on the U.S. dollar today?
Well, I really want to stop while I'm ahead, because
you've had such fantastic calls.
I don't often get things that right. Well, right now everybody's pessimistic on the dollar, including me. So I wouldn't sell the dollar right now. If anything, I would probably think more about buying it. I'm pessimistic too. Don't get me wrong.
Long term. But you feel like maybe we're in that trade still.
Everybody's pessimistic right now. I mean, everybody that I hear is very pessimistic on the dollar, so I don't think I would sell more dollars right now. I am pessimistic long term. It's going to disappear. But Maria, everywhere I hear right now, people are talking about, well, the dollar's finished, it's going to go down.
And
so I wouldn't sell it right
now.
I have found in life it's better to be a contrarian than not be.
You taught me that, and I love that lesson from you. So overall, in terms of policies right here, you said Ben Bernanke is going to keep printing money. How are these guys doing right now? I mean, we still have unemployment as a major issue, and people are worried that we don't have any transparency going into 2011 in terms of business policies coming out of Washington. That's why they don't want to add any new heads to the payroll.
Maria, how many times have I sat here and said to you, Mr. Bernanke doesn't know what he's doing? Why do you listen to him anymore? Why does anybody listen to him?
Well,
I mean,
he's
you know.
the chairman of the Fed, Jim. I mean, come on.
But he's been wrong over, and he and Mr. Geithner and Mr. Summers and Mr.
Well, now Summers is stepping down, Christina Romer stepping down, Peter Orszag stepped down.
They've all been dead wrong, totally unadulteratedly wrong. Unemployment is higher now than it was before. Everything is worse instead of better.
What should be done?
What we should do is let people go bankrupt, let the system clean out, and start over. I mean, the idea that we continue to hold up dead companies and dead banks.
Too big to fail.
What do you mean too big to fail? There's no such thing as too big to fail.
But there is, because we've got Fannie Mae, there's Freddie Mac, there's AIG.
And they have failed, and they should be allowed to fail, and they should be allowed to be liquidated, and then we start over. The Japanese tried to hold up zombie banks and zombie companies for 20 years. Their stock market is 75% below where it was 20 years ago, Maria, 20 years ago. It's not a typo. It hasn't worked.
Is this one of the reasons that you don't touch U.S. equities, or you're not, looking at that area?
The main reason is, I said before, if the world economy gets better, I'm going to make money in commodities. If the world economy doesn't get better, I'm going to make money in commodities, because they're going to all print money. Bernanke says we're going to print money. That's all they know. It's the wrong thing to do, but that's what they're going to do.
Are you still looking internationally for ideas?
I own some Chinese shares. I own some international airlines. These are things that I bought in the not-too-distant past. I bought Malaysia. I bought a few Malaysian shares recently. The new government in Malaysia is doing some interesting things. There are always opportunities around. But, Maria, the best opportunities now are commodities, because no matter what happens, you're going to make money in commodities, and when you look lose less.
And when you look at the market in Brazil right now, everyone's talking about commodities as they relate to Brazil, and there's so much money moving into Brazil. Real quick on this, I mean, everyone's talking to me about how great Brazil is and that the economy is booming. Should I be a contrarian there?
Yeah, I wouldn't jump on that bandwagon right now, just for the very reasons you're saying. It's everybody in the world is racing around talking about Brazil. I mean, it's got great things going on. There's no question about that, but why jump on a moving ship?
Jim, there's a reason that you are this international success story in investing. You put your money to where your mouth is. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for coming by during your international travels. Jim Rogers joining us.